So what we got today is parallel and perpendicular lines. Today we're learning that parallel lines have the same slope. So it's kind of weird what gets started with. Here's what they got. They have given us this line right here. I'm going to call him the green line. Are we down with the fact that he's in slope-intercept form also? Could you tell me what the slope of that line is? 4. And the y-intercept is? -2. But what I have done is I have also graphed it. So you can see it. They're like, yo, dude, here's the line given to you. Here you go, green line. And you're like, thank you very much. What they're asking us to do is write the equation of a whole different line. We'll call him the red line because I'm going to use red ink here in a second. The red line that goes through this point right here. Right? It's got to go through that point. Well, they want them to also be parallel to each other. And since we just said parallel lines have the same slope, here's how we'll start every problem. You'll tell me what slope you're going to use by writing m equals. So we can write with me. Do you know the slope of the green line, the one they gave it to us? It is 4. So since the red line that we're going to write the equation of has to be parallel to it, shouldn't it have the same slope as well? So I will use this right here, which is a slope, and what they have given me is a point. So I'm going to talk myself through it. If I have a point and I have a slope, do you know how I could start writing that formula? Out of our 3 equations that we have, which one would we choose? Point slope form, the y minus y1, right? So let's rock with that. Let's do y. I'm going to use red since I was calling him the red line. Y minus y1, right, equals m, which is 4, right, times the quantity of x minus x1. So minus and minus became a plus. And what I'll always tell you is if they don't tell you what form to put the equation in, we'll always multiply it out and put it in slope-intercept form when we're all said and done. So let's distribute the 4. And then add the 2 over. And this is what we got. This red line in this box and this green line will be parallel to each other. Why are they parallel to each other? Because they have the same slope. But if I graph this guy, doesn't he have a y-intercept of 10? Are you with me? He's got a y-intercept of 10. And then I can't rise 4 and run 1, so I can go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the left 1, down 4, maybe if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, to the left 1, and then down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the left 1, and connect those dots together with this red line right here, and those dudes are parallel to each other. They never, ever, ever intersect. Hey, magic question, did I go through the point that they wanted me to go through? Did I go through -2, 2? So I could draw an infinite amount of lines parallel to the green one that they gave me. All they have to have is a slope of 4. Any line with a slope of 4 is going to be parallel to the green line that I did. But they said, could you please write an equation of a line that goes through -2, 2? So I used that point and the slope that was the same as it to do point slope form and work it all out. So it's kind of weird, right? They're just asking you to do something. So I'm going to take the graph away now, and here's what I got. Here's our green line right here. Is it in slope-intercept form, yes or no? We're going to steal its slope then, right? So here's the question of the day. We've got 2 P words, parallel and perpendicular. Right now we're only on parallel. Parallel lines have the same slope, correct? So I'm telling you, we'll start with m equals. And this slope of this green line is 1/3. I want the same slope, so shouldn't I use 1/3 again, correct? So I'm going to steal the slope from the line provided, and they want me to go through the point 6, 4. So since they gave me a point and I have the slope, can't we go to point slope form? Rock on? Set them up. Set them up in point slope form. Y minus 4, y minus y1 equals 1/3 times x minus 6. For those who are still a little shaky on what I'm trying to do, this is x1, y1, and this is m in point slope form. Right? Multiply him out, man. Multiply him out. So y minus 4 comes down. 1/3 times x is definitely 1/3 x. And then let's do the signs next. What is a positive times a negative going to turn out to be, sign-wise? Negative. Does 3 go into 6 evenly? 2 times. Take it times the numerator. Don't you get a 2 on that bad boy? And then I will add 4 over. If I add 4, won't I get 2 back in that scenario? So the final answer is y equals 1/3 x plus 2. I'll ask a question. You say they have the same slope. Why are these two lines parallel to each other? Because they have the same slope, right? But guess what? Would this, let's use a different color, would this blue line be parallel to the original line? Is the blue line parallel to the original line? Yes, they have the same slope. The blue line isn't going to go through the 0.64, though. Are you with me on that? They wanted us to go through the point they told me to and be parallel to the line they gave me. So let's try another one. Is this dude in slope-intercept form? Yes, so you could look at it and tell me the slope. The question is, what P word, please read your homework carefully, are they saying parallel or are they saying perpendicular? What are they saying on these? Parallel lines, and they have the same slope. So you'll tell me you're using m equals -2, and we'll go through that point. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I'll distribute my slope through. Negative. Watch your signs. Signs. And then I'll subtract 2. Again, if I go a little too fast, you need to slow me down. We feel okay with that? All right, let's rock again, man. I'll let you do this. Talk yourself through it. You can work together. So I'm going to use the same slope. X plus 2. Yeah. And if there was a faster way to do this, I would have shown you. This is the fastest way to get her done. Add 4. What a lame thing, though. It's just like, what's the equation of the line that's parallel to this one that goes through this point? Not very exciting stuff, you know. Algebra. Are we cool with this one? Could you look to the next one and tell your neighbor what's different about it compared to the first 4? What form is that in? Because that's not slope-intercept form. How do I know? Because y is not all by itself on one side of the equal sign. What form is that in? Standard form. And your algebra teacher showed you a shortcut of how to find the slope, right? You do not need to solve that for y. Can't we just do the opposite of a over b to find the slope, correct? So who's the slope going to be? We might have to do it in a couple phases. I'm going to do the opposite of a over b. And like if that needed to reduce, I would just keep going to the right. I'll show you that as that happens, right? But isn't the slope going to be -3 in that case, right? So I'll just put that in -3. Boom. Cool. That was nice. That just saved us probably 90 seconds to where we didn't have to like solve that guy for y to figure out what the slope was. So y minus 6 equals -3. That's x plus Juan. Juan is a beautiful number. Plus 6. If you are a person who on homework continues to get questions wrong because of sign errors, maybe you should start showing more baby steps, right? You know, like the sign errors usually happen from people who don't understand that you have to do the opposite to get it over there. You know? Cool in the gang? Do we have another one of those? Oh, yeah. Why don't you find the slope? You have to decide if the line given to you is in standard form or in slope-intercept form. And if he's in standard form, do a little opposite of a over b to find the slope, man. What a nice little time saver that is. That guy was in standard form. 1/2 times x minus 4. Yeah. And watch those signs, baby. Watch those signs. -1/2 x. What's this sign going to turn out to be? A -1/2 times a -4. Sign is Positivo. Positivo. 2 goes into 4 twice. Take it times the numerator. Again, if you need some help with those fraction things, just ask me later and I'll help you. We'll go through a couple. Da, 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 da. Minus 6, minus 6. Algebra. What do you think? Sometimes, my friends, they'll give you a line that's in neither form. Like I'll do one for you right here. They might make it like 2y equals 5x plus 10. That is not in slope-intercept form, nor is it in slope standard form. Are you with me on that? Wouldn't the easiest move be to get y by itself by dividing everybody by 2? So if they don't give it to you with y all by itself or the other one, you gotta like go ahead and like put it in slope-intercept form. Or you can try to put it in standard form if that's easier. You know what I mean? So just watch yourself. Those tricks only work if it's in that form. If it's in point-slope form, could you tell me what the slope is of that guy? Like that's in point-slope form. Like what's the slope? That's 3, right? You know, so you can recognize the slope right away too. Cool? But those are parallel lines. If it was only about parallel lines, life would be a lot easier. First, let's talk about what perpendicular even means. What does it mean if things are perpendicular? They intersect how? At a 90-degree angle, like at a right angle. Cool? And can you see down there in the instructions that perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocal slopes? We need to take a minute to break that down to see what that means. I think you've heard of reciprocal before, right? It's like flip it upside down, you know what I mean? The reciprocal of something. Opposite means change the sign. If you are positive, what is the opposite of positive? Negative. If you are negative, the opposite of that is positive, right? So you have to do 2 moves, man. Let's just help me. You shout them out. I have the number 2/3 provided right here. I need the opposite reciprocal. Flip it over, change the sign. Who is the opposite reciprocal of 2/3? Negative 3/2. Are you with me on that? What about if it's a negative 3/4? Here's a good question. Would it be negative 4/3? Do you see how the 3 was negative and the 4 was positive and I switched it over? It doesn't quite work that way, man. As a fraction, this green number right here, is this entire number a positive number or a negative number? It is negative. Are you with me? It doesn't matter if the top is negative or the bottom is negative. The thing is negative. So isn't the opposite of that going to be positive in that case, right? So who is the opposite reciprocal of this bad boy? 4/3. And then, ooh, 6. 6 is not a fraction. Can you make him a fraction? That way when you flip him over, he is 1/6. But do you want 1/6 or negative 1/6? Negative 1/6 is the opposite reciprocal. And the same thing here. Who is the opposite reciprocal of negative 1? Positive 1/1, you know, kind of thing. So cool with that? So same thing, but your job is to read instructions. They say, yo, man, write the equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through this point and is, bing, perpendicular to this guy. Is that green guy in slope-intercept form? I want to teach you the right way to do it. Maybe you've seen this symbol before, maybe you have not. Have you ever seen this upside down capital T for perpendicular? If you have not, welcome to the symbol for perpendicular. We're going to make an upside down capital T and we're going to put an M next to it. And guess what that stands for? Not just slope, but perpendicular slope. Are you with me on that? That will help your brain, trust me, that will help your brain go, oh, I need to do the opposite reciprocal because you wrote that upside down capital T. So isn't the slope of this guy 1/2? Who is the opposite reciprocal of 1/2? Negative 2/1, which I will just write as negative 2. Are you with me that the line that they gave me this time has a slope of 1/2? I want to go perpendicular to it, so I take the opposite reciprocal. Then, same old story. We've got a point right here. This is the slope we're going to use. So let's do a point slope form. Y minus y1 equals negative 2 times the quantity of x minus x1. Yeah. And then we'll distribute. And then we will add 2 to both sides. But I'm a dude that teaches a lot of geometry, And I know that a lot of people are like, I still don't really understand what perpendicular means. This line right here and this line will intersect at a 90 when I graph them. If I start at a y-intercept of 10, which is what this guy has, and go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1, and I take those guys, not only did I go through the point that I wanted to, but you see that the red line and the green line totally intersect at 90 degrees. Like, I don't even need to put a protractor on top of it to measure it, because the reason why I know they are perpendicular is because they have 3 words. Opposite reciprocal slopes is very important. You can't just say they're opposite reciprocals. The slopes are opposite reciprocal. So opposite reciprocal slopes. So let's do that again. The P word on these questions is perpendicular. Steal the slope from the line they gave you and take its opposite reciprocal. So the perpendicular slope of this guy will be the opposite reciprocal of negative 2/3. Who is the opposite reciprocal of negative 2/3? Positive 3/2. Cool. Pause the video. Get this homeboy done. So I'll record it here where we got the fraction. I'm going to do the sign first. It's going to come out negative. All right, it's a positive guy times a negative guy. This little dude down here goes into 2 evenly. 2 goes into 2 one time. Take 1 times 3 up there and get a 3 back. And then, oh man, what do you want here? Y equals 3/2 x plus 0 or minus 6? Don't you have to subtract 3 over from both sides? So that would be a minus 6 in that case. Groovy? How many more are left? 4 of them? I don't think we'll need to do all 4 of them. Let's do a few of them. Sound okay? So please tell your neighbor what slope you're going to use on number 8. What slope will you use? What do you got? Negative 1/7. Hey, let's see if we are I know it's Friday. Let's see if we're thinking something. My math brain, you are correct. Negative 1/7 is the slope we're going to use. My math brain said, oh crap. Can you see the point we want to go through? I said, oh crap. Set it up for point slope form, and let's see if you can start having the oh crap moments. So let's do it. Let's go y minus what? Minus 4 equals negative 1/7 times the quantity of x what? Minus 6. Oh crap. Why did I say oh crap? 7 does not go into 6 evenly. Are you with me on that? Welcome to the first one of the year where it doesn't happen. And you'll start to learn as you get more and more experience that this number needs to go into that number evenly before you have the oh crap moments. But it doesn't mean we can't keep going. We're going to keep going. So let's do it together. Y minus 4 is going to equal, everybody can do negative 1/7 times x, right? Won't that be negative 1/7 x? Yeah. And then we'll do the signs next. It is a negative times a negative, which is a positive. And here's how to make the oh crap not as crappy. Make this 6 a fraction. All right, put him over 1. And multiplying fractions is super duper easy. Don't forget, we have taken care of the signs. I don't care that they're negative anymore. You take a numerator times a numerator and put them over a denominator times a denominator, right? It's top times top over bottom times bottom. So what would you get? Top times top is 6, and bottom times bottom is 7. That's the easy part, right? What sucks now is we have to add 4 to both sides. So it is time, since we are advanced, I don't have my calculator open. Give me. If you do not have a calculator with fraction buttons, here's how you deal with it. Could you tell me what I need to do first? What am I actually going to be adding to each other? Yeah, 6/7 plus 4. Are you with me on that? You just put fractions in parentheses. You do parentheses 6 divided by 7. Isn't that totally 6/7 right there? Yes? And I will add 4 to it, because that's what you told me you wanted it to do, right? The problem is it's going to give you a nasty little decimal, and I don't want a nasty little decimal. So welcome to your first advanced graphing calculator move. The move is called Math Enter Enter. Why is it called Math Enter Enter? Because if you hit those keys, do you see right here, it's very tough to see my little cursor right here, but it's if you go to the 7, go up right here, this math button, if you hit math, it will take you to this menu. And the first option on there is you would like to change this to a fraction. That's why you just hit enter. And it's saying, oh, you want to take your previous answer and change it to a fraction? So enter. Math, enter, enter is how you change a decimal into a fraction. If you are borrowing one of my calculators and you don't remember how to do that, I will tell you how to do that. Math, enter, enter. But soon you guys will end up using graphing calculators. Start remembering some of these graphing calculator tricks that I'm showing you. Right? So I got y equals -1/7 x. Did it say 34/7? Is that what it said? Boom. Cool. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's jump to 10. What do you say? Let's jump to 10. Well, hold on real quick. If you can get the perpendicular slope right on 9, we'll jump to 10. We'll do that. Figure out what the perpendicular slope on 9's got to be. Check it with your neighbor. Remember, perpendicular is opposite reciprocal slopes. Should there be any x's in this value right here? Like the slope of this line is not -x. Are you with me on that? What is the slope of that line? Well, the slope of the line given to me is -1, correct? Who's the opposite reciprocal of that? 1. Are you guys cool with that? We'll skip it. How's that sound? Right? Let's go to this guy. Why did I want to do him? Because is this in slope-intercept form? Nope. What form is he in? Standard form? I don't know how many tricks I could show you. Is the slope of this opposite of a over b? Yes or no? And we want its opposite reciprocal. We want its opposite reciprocal. Could you tell me what the opposite reciprocal of the opposite of a over b is? In letters. In letters. Wouldn't it just be b over a? Are you with me on that? So I think if you start doing this, perpendicular slope equals b over a. If you start writing it down, you know, like the little formula, you're going to memorize it a whole lot faster. I have just showed you like 5 tricks in 2 days. Sometimes that's overwhelming for a lot of people. So if you want to do the perpendicular slope, it's just b over a, right? Which would be what in this case? Who's b? 1. Who's a? Sweet. The other way you could do it is you could do the opposite of a over b, right? And then take the opposite reciprocal of that, right? But this is like getting 2 moves done. So it's up to you if you want to use super trick or just trick in that case. Okay with that? So, all right, let's make this our last one of these. So y plus 2 1/3. But sometimes I get burned showing too many shortcuts. We'll figure out if that was a good idea or a bad idea. Watch that fraction there. We're in good shape because 3 goes into 6 evenly. We're in good shape because 3 goes into 6 evenly. 3 goes in there twice as a numerator, and then subtracting 2. Y is this line, this line and this line perpendicular to each other. You will say 3 words to your neighbor. They have, First word starts with an O, second word starts with an R, third word starts with an S. They have, what's the O word? Opposite. Keep going. Reciprocal. Slopes. So let's make the back side a fast side. We can skip 11. And I'll do 12 for you. Find the slope of a line parallel to this guy. What do you know about this guy? Is he in slope-intercept form or standard form? Standard form. And what's the P word? Parallel or perpendicular? What I would do is up by the instructions, I would write my shortcut. Opposite of A over B. Just showing myself what I need to do. There's my shortcut. All 3 of those are the same question, so do all 3 of them. Find the slope of any line parallel to it. What you need to know is, do parallel lines have the same slope, or do they have opposite reciprocal slopes? Right? So do those 3. So -6 over -18. Then you could reduce that. I did not reduce any of them, but some of them will reduce. What does negative 6 over negative 18 reduce to? Positive 1/3. Are we cool with that guy? Keep it or take its opposite reciprocal? Keep it or take its opposite reciprocal? Keep it. The P word is parallel. Parallel lines have the same slope, so I'm keeping it. This guy does not simplify, so keeping it. This guy definitely simplifies. What's negative 8 divided by 8? Negative 1. Cool? What's the P word on these guys right here? Parallel or perpendicular? Perpendicular. If the slope of a line in standard form is opposite of A over B, I need its opposite reciprocal. So what's my shortcut again? B over A. If you write that down, your brain will probably like it. It's like, okay, I want to do B over A. I want to do B over A. I want to do B over A. The weirdest part is we're not changing any signs. You know, it's like there's no opposites with B over A. So sometimes that could be tricky. But I would say the first 10 questions of your homework are like this. That's why you're going to see a bunch of questions on your homework today. They're super fast ones. What's the slope? What's the slope? But you have to read for the P word. Is it parallel or perpendicular? Does that kind of make sense? So watch out for that. You feel okay with that? And then here's some more fast ones. Here are 2 lines provided for you. We have green line and we have red line. They ask us, bro, are these parallel, perpendicular, or neither? And then why? Here's what you need to know. What do you need to know if lines are parallel or perpendicular? You need to know their slopes. So let's find the slope of this line. Slope of this line is 2, because he was in slope-intercept form. What's the slope of this line? Well, he's in standard form. I'll let you find him. Find him. I got a negative 6 over a negative 12, right, because I'm doing opposite of A over B, correct? The slope of this line is 2. The slope of this line is 1/2. Here's how you just need to talk yourself through it. Are those the same? Yes or no? Is 2 the same as 1/2? No, they are not parallel. Are those opposite reciprocals? Don't get fooled. I'm asking you, are they opposite reciprocals? Yes or no? No, they are not. So what do you think? Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Neither. These are just reciprocal. I don't know why that moved again. Those are just reciprocals, right? So this is a neither. Your homework will have the boxes for you to check right there. It is neither. Why? See if you can find the right choice out of there. Just one of those is correct. Because they have, and it's the last one, they did not have the same slope. Isn't that why we said no to parallel? They did not have opposite reciprocal slopes. That's why we said no to perpendicular. So it is the last one of those guys. Rock on. Let's try another one here. I want some slopes. So the slope of this line, since he's in standard form, will be the opposite of A over B. And the slope of this line is right there in front of my face because he's in slope-intercept form. And then if your brain just does this, are those the same? Nope. Are they opposite reciprocals? They're both negative, right? So that can't happen. Are you with me? One of them has to be negative. The other one has to be positive for them to be opposites of each other, even though they are reciprocals. So this is also a neither, because they have neither the same slope nor opposite reciprocal slopes. Why don't you pause the video and do the rest of these and check them with mine. So I found the slope of this one to be negative 2 over 1, this one to be a positive 1 over 2. Those are opposite reciprocals. So what kind of lines are they? Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Perpendicular. Reason? This is the worst reason you could have. I take that back. This is also the worst reason you could have. Because guess what you have to have? Not that and not that, but the third one. Fourth one, I should say. Don't you have to have opposite reciprocal slopes? Are you with me on that? Keep on keeping on. Here they did it to me. This guy right here is in neither of the forms that I like. It is not in slope-intercept form. It is not in standard form. But couldn't I very easily get y all by itself by getting rid of that times 3? So divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. And like, who cares what the y-intercept turns out to be in these questions? We care about the slopes of these guys. So the slope of this line, I got him to be 3, because it's -6 over -2. The slope of this line, I got him to be 3. Last I checked, those were the same, right? So what kind of lines are those? Parallel. Meaning if I graph them, they would not intersect. They stayed in the same plane, though, right? They're all on the coordinate because they have the same slope. Was that the last one? Oh, yeah, man. Let's rock some homework. Let us know if you have questions. Have a good one.